Hey, everybody, welcome again to eChannelNews. We've got Navdeep Sidhu. He's the CEO of meshIQ, and they do a lot of stuff in the middleware world, of course, and we're going to find out what are some of the things that's happening there, some trends, maybe some predictions. Who knows where this is going to go. Navdeep, welcome. How are you?
Julian, I'm fine. How are you?
Very, very good. Let's just start us off by just kind of like double clicking on what does meshIQ do?
All right, it's actually very simple. We enable complex middleware deployments in large organizations, and we enable messaging, streaming, and eventing or event-driven architectures, which enable core mission-critical applications for businesses across the globe.
Got it. So let's see a world without meshIQ for a second. So you've got these enterprises launching these middleware stuff that they're trying obviously to have to do it with or without a meshIQ. What's life without meshIQ? And maybe talk about life with meshIQ.
Absolutely. So it depends on where you are with your middleware maturity. We see a lot of organizations starting with middleware. So they need some hand-holding guidance, how to deploy, how to architect their middleware platforms. And then we see some organizations who have tried some middleware, it worked well, it didn't work well. So they need some expertise on how to adopt best practices. And then we see complex organizations who have either inherited a very complex set of platforms all the way from 1990s, and they're dabbling to modernize and adopt AI and some of the modern platforms, and they are finding it a bit challenging from a cost, governance, and maturity standpoint. So no matter where the organization is in their maturity curve with regards to their middleware adoption, we help companies um, at all stages, no matter where they are. Are they starting with middleware? They are mature, and they have complex and hybrid deployments which they want to govern better. And to answer your second question, the world without meshIQ will be a little bit chaotic. You will have middleware connections going all across, and things will get lost, and there'll be no proper governance. Everybody will have access to everything. And when the outage happens, it'll be very hard to detect, manage, and triage the outage, right? So we make sure that the outages don't happen. The governance is in place so that not everybody can look at the confidential data. And no matter which vendor you buy your middleware from, we provide a strong governance management plane on top so that it is very seamless and effective to manage.
Interesting. So now, Dave, I mean, we've got all this technology available to us as companies, right? And it seems like, yeah, let's get that, this. But in a way, it's like the orchestration of it, right? How it all comes together is literally the difference between having a really good outcome and maybe a bad outcome. When you zoom out and you look at companies playing in the middleware world, what are you seeing? Are you seeing that they're actually getting what they paid for? They get what they thought they're going to get, or are they like running at, I don't know, 20% capacity?
Yeah, absolutely. So middleware can be very expensive. Typically, you get what you pay for, but at the same time, when you take a step back and you look at the overarching picture, as you mentioned earlier, new technology, everybody wants to adopt it. So every team in a big company has adopted a middleware, or every team has adopted a different middleware, which means as a head of infrastructure, you now have 10 different platforms to support, and you're literally scratching your head on how do I staff my team to manage these thousands of brokers from 10 different vendors, and some of them are not even in the business today. So it becomes a complicated process for the infrastructure teams to effectively govern, manage, and meet the uptime requirements, right? With AI, you want to do modern streaming. You probably inherited some legacy messaging, and you probably have some legacy messaging where the vendor doesn't even support that messaging anymore. So how do you manage the new with the old and the legacy and or as some companies call it, heritage, right? So how do you combine all of that to deliver the modern application user experience and also support the legacy environments, which are typically like the mainframes, which are not going away anytime soon?
It's almost sometimes it feels like almost an impossibility. So companies buy companies all day long. So then
Yeah.
you buy a bunch of stuff and you go, what is that? You know, and it's really cool to look at the synergy effect of I buy this company, I get access to this product, this value, this market, this whatever. But then when the systems are not kind of meshing together, using your company name, meshing together well, it's a bit of a nightmare. Do you see problems like this when people merge with a company and then they've got to figure out how to, blend these things together?
Oh, absolutely. We see it all the time. And I think you hit the nail on the head. How do these mesh together, right?
Yeah.
And, we have a customer we were just talking to the other day, and they have 10 of everything. You have, application servers, they have 10 varieties, 10 flavors. You talk about middleware, they have 10 flavors, right? And the infrastructure team is just throwing bodies at the problem. Every time the app team hires a bunch of new developers to create a new application, they pick their own middleware. So how
Mm.
do you have a consistency in management without throwing bodies at the problem? That's the exact problem we saw.
It's a big problem, of course. And but can you just give me a sense of the outcome and the timing? So, company contacts you, hey, Navdeep,
Mhm.
we've got this situation, and I know there's many, many different situations, but you go in there. Walk me through a bit of your process. How do you kind of like go from understanding what hell's going on to okay, here's a plan, and how long would it take for them to start seeing some tangible outcomes?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will not give you the it depends answer. I'll give you a very crisp answer there. Typically, we get approached when a company adopts a new middleware or they're struggling with a specific problem. They typically do not think about the larger governance or a common platform to manage all middleware platforms. So we get engaged into solving one problem. For example, somebody is adopting open source messaging technology and they don't know how to go about it. So we get engaged at that level and we solve that problem. And very soon they see the power of our platform and the light bulb goes on and the aha moment. Oh, okay, well, I can do this. And oh, I can manage the legacy platforms as well. Oh, yes, you can, right? So nobody in the world thinks about solving the other pains that may happen the year after. They're all solving the problems that are in front of them today. So we
Mm.
solve that in a 3 to 6 month period. We solve the middleware problem that they are currently suffering from. And then we keep expanding onto other platforms that they may not have thought about. So in about a year or so, we establish the full governance management layer if they're open to it across all middleware platforms. And there are many variables how they are structured. Half of the middleware sits in one team, the half of the middleware sits in another team. So if they're open to it, we can provide a governance and a management layer for all their modern and legacy middleware.
Yeah, I think I would imagine sometimes they don't even know they have a problem, or they or they
Exactly.
want to ignore or kick the can down the road,
Yeah.
right?
We hear this a lot. The reaction typically from the customers, oh, we can do that, right? A customer is solving an Apache ActiveMQ problem, and we got involved, I think the other day, and we showed them, oh, then the light bulb went on. Oh, we have this and this and this. Those are our legacy platforms. You can do all of that. The answer is yes, but let's solve this problem first, get you going, and then we can talk about expansion as well.
Absolutely. So give me so in the space, obviously you know this at a DNA level. What are some of the trends you're seeing right now? Like what are companies are looking to achieve? And I mean, everybody's moving obviously towards this AI, you know, pendulum swings in this AI world right now, and everybody's trying to do this fast, quick, let's get it done, et cetera. Et cetera. What do you see as far as a trend?
Yeah, I think the biggest trend, and you just mentioned it, is the AI. And we see a lot of companies, ourselves included, we're doing a lot of internal things and external things with AI. But we are noticing that a lot of the AI projects, they do not have concrete value in the long term, and the business, the IT struggles to explain it to the business on why we invest so much. And if you look at the heart of the problem, AI is about using technology to predict outcomes, and the technology is only as effective as the data it has available, right? So the more data you feed into your AI models, the more useful predictions, more accurate predictions you can get out of it. So at the core, it is all about data getting to the AI engines, and those engines could be in the cloud, those engines could be your LLMs running on-prem, but you need messaging and streaming to provide the latest and greatest data to feed those engines. So the middleware is playing a key role in enabling those engines, and the requirements from both the messaging and the streaming technologies are skyrocketing. So, and companies have to scale those middleware platforms. And then the first question is, okay, we are going to spend X amount of dollars on AI, but the middleware cost is 5X. So how do we not get into the vendor lock-in, and how do we use open source technologies to power our AI initiatives? So AI is great. As a side effect, we are seeing a resurgence of interest in the open source messaging and open source streaming technologies. And that's why we are betting big on Apache's ActiveMQ and Apache Kafka as a platforms that will enable the AI initiatives to deliver concrete value.
Let's talk some of the risks there. I mean, look, no one wants lock-in, right? I mean, I think we kind of like went past that stage where it's like it's not good. With the cost looks very cheap to get on board, but when you degress, oh my God, it's like it's a fortune. And as a matter of fact, you don't even know what your bill is going to be like anymore. It's like it seems like someone randomly generates an invoice for you, every month type thing. But what are some of the risks that you're seeing out there?
The risks are, the early adopters running without thinking the end picture, because a lot of this is experimentation going on. So the reality sets in when the rubber meets the road, when you have a lot of infrastructure which was supposed to deliver a value, and it is delivering partial value, but the costs are skyrocketing and it is impossible to manage. So the cost part and the management part, if you think about those things first, then it becomes easier. So when you are delivering the value, you are not struggling to deliver it on a daily basis. You're not struggling with outages. You have a proper governance model, and everybody knows that this was the expected cost, and this is the real cost that we are paying, and they are in line, right? So those are the three things that we focus on when we deliver value to the customers.
Yeah, and I think that's like today. I think Navdeep, it's like no CEO wants to just buy technology for fun anymore, right? It's like what is this really going to do for us, right? Is it going to increase our productivity? Is that really going to, what's the outcome right now? And because there's so much tech, right? I mean, you could spend forever buying technology solutions in your security stack, right?
Yeah.
And you've got this Frankenstein looking death by 1,000 tools, and then you scratch your head and go, do I really need all of this? Do you find that people maybe the trend is like they're really thinking first now a little bit than jumping in?
Absolutely. And honestly, we see that trend more in manufacturing and also in retail, because these industries are low margin industries.
Yeah.
They move very fast. If you have a visionary leader at the top within IT, they move very quickly to make sure that they don't have death by 1,000 cuts, because every cut is bleeding their margins, right? So they move very quickly compared to other industries such as financial services, which are more risk averse. They are open to continuing with the legacy platforms for the foreseeable future, just because they have the margins and they have the IT budgets to support it. But we see manufacturers, retailers, logistics companies, and everybody else who's um, focused on laser thin margins. They're trying to scale things, and they're making sure that their initiatives don't die with those 1,000 cuts that you mentioned.
Yeah, and I think too as well, the data is kind of showing that a lot of folks that's jumped on the AI bandwagon, they're not really being able to measure that ROI as much as they were hoping that they're getting, but they're still in that experimental stage. Like they're moving in a direction, but maybe it's a bit of a longer journey before they actually seeing the payoff. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Oh, absolutely. And I think the payoff will be real. And you and I have been around the block for a while. So we saw that in the dot-com boom, right? The dot-com boom, the focus on the internet led us to cloud and also to large e-commerce retailers. So you can certainly derive value from the technology if you have the vision. And we just make sure that our customers are going to be realistic about the vision and they have the tools to manage the vision as they go along.
So, and Navdeep, when you look at your customers talking to you as CEO of the C-suite, what's the outcomes for me here, Navdeep? If I spin up your meshIQ, what am I going to see in a year from now? What's going to be my tangible outcomes?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is you will be more able to modernize your messaging and eventing infrastructure, which means you can scale faster and you have to pay less if you go
Mm,
with the open source technologies that we support. And we support all the vendors, right? Both open source and non-open source. But if you go with our open source flavors, you are able to modernize, you're able to scale faster, reducing your messaging and streaming bill, and you can scale confidently that, hey, I will have 10 new brokers for my AI initiative, and it's not going to cost me an arm and a leg.
mm,
Right? So the effective scalability, a very strong governance model, you know who has control, who can see what data, and you are not breaking any compliance rules. And then finally, we have a management plane which kind of future proofs you. So which means that you have these three technologies today, but as we know, technologies evolve.
mm.
The open source technology that is the flavor of the day today will be replaced by something else 2 years down the road. So you are kind of future proofing your infrastructure with a vendor like us. So, your app teams can go and buy another middleware platform and, you rest assured that meshIQ is there in your corner to support it when needed.
It's a strategic and a competitive advantage, right? Because predictability. The last time I checked, I don't know, Navdeep, like predictability in business is a kind of an important thing, and being able to predict, your future with the way your platforms are running and et cetera, and costs and stuff is, I think it's mission critical, and moving forward, maybe even more so.
Yeah, we hear great, stories from our customers. One customer said, "You saved my marriage," because he spent the Black Friday weekend triaging the middleware problems, and the next year he had meshIQ platform, and he was spending time with his family. So we get good stories around, how we have saved. Not only the top line and the bottom lines during the Black Friday, but also saved a lot of um, careers and family relations and whatnot. So yes, meshIQ. I mean, the concept is very technical, right? I mean, it's not flashy, but middleware and streaming is
Mm.
kind of the glue that glues everything together, right? So without that, things start to fall apart. You order something that is not delivered, or you order something for your family during the Christmas time, the holiday time, and the gifts do not arrive in time. It's all, everything from payments to delivery to logistics, everything is connected by middleware. So it's an important glue that we don't see every day,
Mm.
but the pain becomes very obvious when things don't work the way they're supposed to.
You're selling happiness, my friend.
We do. We do.
So, what is giving you the last word here? Where do you see things are coming? What do you want people to know about how they could, approach their middleware challenges, if you will?
Yeah. The one of the biggest challenges we see is that um, companies rely on APM vendors, which is a fantastic technology. The application performance monitoring, platform monitoring, they enable companies to look at the infrastructure. They give you the broader view, you can see whether the app server, the middleware layer, the broker, what is down, what is not. The problem we see is middleware has become so specialized and so complex in hybrid deployments that the APM tools just give you at the high level picture, but they fail to diagnose the real problems, and they don't typically deliver the functionality to start a broker when something fails. And when the situation is escalated to the middleware team, they find that they can do a lot more with meshIQ technology. So we get compared to the APM vendors a lot, and we are not an APM vendor. And I think the companies are realizing increasingly that APM vendors are perfectly suited for the observability team, but the
Mm.
middleware infrastructure teams, they need meshIQ.
Yeah, it's really cool to know what's going on. Cooler to know how to fix the problem, I would assume,
Yeah.
right?
If honestly, if I was a middleware infrastructure manager in a large organization and I get a call from the observability team and say, hey, did you know that this middleware platform, the 20 brokers are down? Instead of saying, oh, I didn't know that, right? I should be able to say, yes, we know that. We have already restarted some of them. We know why the problem happened. And we have made sure it won't happen again, right? That's the kind of response I want to be able to give to my peers in the observability team and to my management and to the business instead of saying, oh, well, we were just counting on the APM provider. The platform didn't catch it or caught it at a high level 5 minutes or 10 minutes after the problem happened. So yes, so that's the nuance, and I think this nuance is understood by a lot of smart infrastructure managers out there who can see the fine line between the APM vendors and the specialized middleware management and observability that meshIQ delivers.
Yeah, it's one thing. I mean, that was you just described the ultimate customer service response call. It's like, yeah, we got this.
Yep.
That's what you want to hear. Well, when you look at the future, my last question of meshIQ and this year, next year, where is it going? What's your vision for the company?
Our vision is pretty simple. We are middleware specialists, and we are building innovative tools and technologies to support our customers. And the biggest trend we are seeing is open source.
Hmm.
A lot of companies, they have some open source, and it is growing rapidly. So we are investing heavily as a company into the open source ecosystem, namely two technologies, Apache ActiveMQ and Apache Kafka. And the third thing on the horizon is RabbitMQ. So we support all these platforms today. And we are also uh, investing heavily into B2B flow intelligence, which enables our customers in manufacturing, retail, supply chain in general to diagnose the B2B EDI and MFT problems so that any failures do not translate into stockouts and stores not having the products during the holiday season or during the regular season. So these are the four areas we are investing heavily into the customer, and they're all middleware related areas. So our ultimate goal is to stay in the middleware, but to grow our offerings to be in line with the customer demand and how they view the emergence of the middleware platforms.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like I said, you can bring a lot of happiness to people if they could solve these problems, right? So the website is what? Is it meshiq.com?
Absolutely. Yep. meshIQ.com.
There you go. Well, folks, I'll invite everybody to check this all out. I mean, it's a monstrous problem, right? And it's something that not very many people, well, they're aware of it, right? But they're not quite sure how to solve this nut or crack this nut, as they say. But the way you got to deal with it is solve some problems first, and then expand. How you see, the software can actually help in the other areas of middleware, and maybe step by step, spending a year with Navdeep can actually save your marriage. Who knows?
Absolutely. So, as you said, monstrous problem. The question we typically ask our customers is not that which middleware, whether you use a middleware platform or not. The question is which middleware platforms. Everybody uses middleware,
For
and
sure.
every company on this planet, they use some flavor of middleware. and we just see it growing. This monstrous problem is growing big.
And you're betting on the open source portion of this, right?
Yeah, we support all vendors, open source and
Sure.
non-open source, but we are seeing a huge interest in modernization powered by open source technologies. And that is why we are focusing big time on that.
Yeah, one other little question that I've been dealing with for the last while here regarding, AI is making a lot of coding happening a lot easier. A lot of folks are using, vibe coding and so on. How is that playing in the middleware space?
That's great. And this is a great question because vibe coding and other improvements in the coding speed enables companies to launch more applications, improve application velocity, delivery, DevOps, and everything. And then when you have more applications, they need more middleware, right? Because middleware is gluing those applications together, connecting the application either to the data or connecting the application to another application, which means that you will, as a company, use more and more middleware. So that's the reason we are betting big on middleware.
Yeah, well, just wanted to squeeze it in there because it seems like everybody is moving in that vibe direction. Navdeep, it's been a pleasure. Keep us posted how things are coming along. It sounds like you guys have locked into a very good swim lane and helping people to figure out how to work in that middleware space. So congrats. Keep up the great work. Cheers.
Absolutely. Happy to. Thank you, Julian, for your time.